imagine a beautiful Wisconsin spring. We're not the only ones that are starting to come out of our homes. All of the deer are starting to cross the road again, and there's a bunch of animals starting to come out of their burrows. Now, unfortunately, crossing the road again means that a lot of animals are going to encounter cars, and as I'm sure a few of us are familiar with, people hit deer with cars a lot of the time, and they can cause quite a lot of damage both to the car and the deer. Now, imagine those deer that get hit in the spring and all of the other little critters on the side of the road, but they just never leave. They just keep piling up over the course of the year, and by the end of the summer, there's basically just dead animals all over the place. Is this the beautiful Wisconsin that we want to see?
No.
Probably not. We're not really a big fan of carnage laying about on the side of the road. So for that, we have to thank Turkey Vultures. So my name is Cinna, and I am an endless advocate for nature's less charismatic characters. I really, 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 really love Turkey Vultures, as you will probably come to understand. So Turkey Vultures are scavengers, and I got the honor of working with some of nature's messiest eaters this summer at the Raptor Education Group up in Anago, if any of you have ever visited. So this is myself pictured with Pilchard, one of my favorite birds of all time. So I got the honor of working with these very wonderful birds at that time. So, raise your hand if you think that turkey vultures are kind of dirty. Yeah, you would probably assume so, right? So that is actually just an assumption that we make based off of their diet. So turkey vultures are scavengers. They eat lots of dead stuff, and it's probably foods that we wouldn't like to eat very much, because I can't really see myself pulling over to go start eating a decomposing corpse on the side of the road. But everyone has their own preferences, so I would not judge you if you were to do so. I would advise seeing a doctor soon. But, that said, turkey vultures actually serve an incredibly important purpose in our ecosystem, and we're going to learn a little bit about that today. So, to get things started, we will learn about some of their head adaptations that help to keep them safe and healthy. So, just looking at this beautiful creature here, what is one of the things that you notice about it? Yes.
The hole in the
Yeah, so the hole in the nose is one of the coolest things about the turkey vulture, and I'll actually have a much better picture of that right here. So you can see straight through that hole in their nose. So what do you think that that might mean?
It was pierced.
Huh?
Oh, it was pierced.
Well, it could be. I mean, I think that you could get a ring through there pretty easily, but I'm not sure how that would get into like animal welfare concerns.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be very kind. So turkey vultures actually have an incredible sense of smell. So raise your hand if you've ever heard that if you pick up a baby bird and put it back in the nest, then the mother will reject it and not take it back because it can smell you. I've heard that too. I heard it tons of times when I was little. But that is completely untrue. So birds tend to have a horrible sense of smell. If I'm being honest, they kind of suck at sniffing. So we're going to see how good at sniffing we are today, and then compare it to the sense of smell of the turkey vulture. So you can see, you've probably noticed these mysterious cups laid out in front of you or on the ground, as they keep called. And then we also have some sheets at the center of our table. You can share them amongst yourselves or work as groups in tables. I have no preference. But all of these cups are labeled with a certain number, and you're going to be able to see if you can tell what the smell is within that cup, and then write down your guess. And we're going to see who has the best sense of
Yeah.
Some sort of oil? Yeah. Cooking?
All right, wrap up those final guesses, and then I will go over the answers so you can re-sniff and reassess once you actually know what you're
Those people.
All right, I will now go over the actual answers so you can re-sniff things and see if it kind of clicks in your mind once you know what it is. So, number 1 is honey. Number 2 is minced garlic. Number 3 is cocoa. Number 4 is coffee. Number 5 is cinnamon. Number 6 is maple syrup.
Oh.
Number 7 is rosemary. Number 8 is lavender. And number 9 is catnip. Yeah, the pet thing probably makes a little bit more sense now. I probably sounded a little bit crazy when I was saying it initially. So you can re-sniff and see if things make a bit more sense now that you know what you're looking for.
Ah. So if you expect coffee,
I don't know what catnip even looks like.
Did anyone
I'm
get
used to seeing
all
it
of
as a
them?
plant. With leaves, you know. I'm used to seeing it all.
5 is pretty solid. It looks like you all did pretty well. I'd say you all did pretty well. So, turkey vultures can actually smell what they're looking for, which, what do you think they might be on the lookout for? Yeah, the smell of rotting flesh, which may not sound exactly aromatic to all of us, but they can actually smell a rotting corpse from up to a mile away. So, when they are circling up high in the sky, they are actually not waiting for something to die. The fire is shooting at them. They are not actually waiting for something to die like a lot of movies might have you suspect. They are actually circling overhead trying to detect exactly where a smell is coming from. So when one turkey vulture sees another, they actually might join in and start working together to try to find the source of that smell. Because turkey vultures are actually very social birds. You actually might see them perching in trees in groups of 30 to 50. They will actually surround rotting corpses together and have a nice dinner with their friends. So, doesn't that sound lovely? Doesn't it sound odd? I know, it's really just hard for me to think about. At least I personally think it is. So, the turkey vulture does have a lot of different head adaptations. So, what's another thing that you notice about this beautiful bird? The obvious answer is an acceptable one. Yes, so it is bald. I think bald is beautiful.
Thank you.
But in this case, bald is also extremely functional. So what do you think that the turkey vulture might be sticking its head into that it doesn't really want to get in its entire head feathers? So it's like a share almost. There's a lot of stuff that it probably doesn't want in it, right? So that is also part of why that nose has that cavity in it. I know that picking your nose may not exactly seem like the most hygienic thing in the world, but that is actually so they can keep that nose passage clear. It makes it really easy to pick their nose with that wide open hole there. So that combined with their bald head feathers helps them to keep their head really, really clean. So they actually can't reach back and clean their own head because obviously their beak is attached to the front of their face, and they can't really do very much with their beak to clean their own head. So over time, the turkey vulture actually lost its head feathers in the process of evolution because it's just easier to not deal with it, basically. So, anything else you notice about the wonderful turkey vulture's face?
its mother loves it.
The eyes are set a little different.
Yeah, so its eyes are set on the sides of its head. That allows it to see really, really well. So they're kind of like raptors in a few of their different traits. Like they have incredible eyesight that lets them see from really far distances. And they have that really sharp beak that's turned downwards because they are both meat eaters. But there is one key difference that turkey vultures have with other raptors that kind of makes them less considered raptors, and that is that they have very different feet. But we'll talk about that more a little bit later. So the turkey vulture has tons of adaptations that help it to consume its favorite food, decomposing flesh, like all of ours, extremely easily and efficiently. So it is incredible at finding its food and perfectly adapted to eating it. So moving down the body of the turkey vulture, they actually have a lot of protections to fight off disease and keep themselves safe. So, my fingers are a little frozen, bear with me. So, does anyone know what this is? Yep, it is a pH scale. So turkey vultures have an incredibly acidic stomach. And actually, in researching this, I found out we do too. We actually have a more acidic stomach than most mammals, where our stomach acid is closer to that of a turkey vulture than it is any other animal. So we are right here at about a 2-ish. It's like 1.75 to 2 is where our stomach acid is. And that's labeled actually right here with the gastric acid on the 2. But it varies depending on what we're doing. But the turkey vultures, it's barely above 0. So the turkey vulture's stomach acid is actually so strong that if it were to vomit on something, it could strip the paint right off of a car. So, that is actually causing some problems in areas where turkey vultures and people overlap. They tend to cause a lot of damage to vehicles, so that can cause some human wildlife conflicts. Just because turkey vultures, when they are scared, they will either hiss or throw up at something. And if you had ever smelled the vomit of a turkey vulture, which I have had the great fortune of smelling, you would understand why that works. Can you imagine it smells very good?
No.
It's actually really bad. So, there are two of my least favorite smells in the universe. One is vulture vomit, self-explanatory. The other is rotting snails, also self-explanatory. So, turkey vulture's incredible stomach acid helps to protect them against diseases. So, we are going to go on a little scavenger hunt just around the pavilion. Nothing is outside because I'm not making anyone get too far away from the fire. But there are 6 wonderful diseases hidden around here that the turkey vulture is able to break down. So you are all turkey vultures scavenging, and you are looking for a wonderful bite of disease. So, taped around this pavilion are 6 diseases. I would like you all to try and find one. You can work together too, because turkey vultures are
There you go.
similar.
All right. I got it. Here, what? Oh,
Rabies.
yeah. So, what? Is this rabies?
Item
Yeah.
6?
Yeah.
All right, so everyone who is
Tuberculosis.
holding a wonderful disease, do you want to read it off so we can learn about some of the diseases that turkey vultures can break down?
Oh, I got salmonella.
That's not good. Go to a doctor.
Ba-dum-tsh.
I got cholera.
Yikes.
Tuberculosis.
Excellent.
Botulism.
Anthrax.
Rabies.
All right, so those are some of the incredible pathogens, so disease-causing agents that turkey vultures can break down with their stomach acid. So as a turkey vulture is eating, they are actually removing that stuff from the environment. So every time a turkey vulture feasts upon a corpse that is infected with some sort of disease, they are more than capable of breaking it down, not only protecting themselves from getting infected, but they also protect pretty much everything else in the environment, because every pathogen that they take away is now something that can't hurt anything else. So we can all return to our seats. Here, I can take that. Sorry for taking your anthrax away. I know you were. Those will go wonderfully great. So diseases are actually not the only things that turkey vultures can remove from the environment. So when things decompose, they use up a lot of oxygen in that process, and they release a lot of carbon dioxide gas. So carbon dioxide is what we call a greenhouse gas. So it is something that actually gets trapped up in the atmosphere and is one of the things that is currently warming our planet up and leading to a lot of climate change. But in a recent study, like just this August recent, it has been discovered that turkey vultures and other scavengers actually remove anywhere from 3 to 60 trillion grams of carbon dioxide gas particles from the environment in the areas where they are active. So, since you are all wonderful turkey vultures, I'm going to walk around with this whiteboard, and I'm going to hand you all this erasing pen thing. The store was out of actual erasers, so imagine this is like an erasing block. And everyone is going to take a good look at what this looks like now. And then as a turkey vulture, you are going to erase one of these lines or bacteria or viruses and help to remove the actual pathogen or nasty thing from the environment. So I will start over here, and we can all take our turns watching the diseases and gases just go away. Excellent. Thank you. You're all doing a wonderful job.
I'm imagining stuffing my red head into the gut of a.
A decomposing deer.
Yeah, yeah. Mmm.
It's really good, right?
Yeah. Oh man,
You can probably
delicious.
just imagine how it tastes.
Yeah.
It must not be able to taste like.
And that describes my cooking.
Well, we all have different like flavor palettes.
They always said the great horned owls can't smell,
Yeah, most birds actually have horrible senses of smell.
but that was why they're the ones that, if you want to find their nest, look for skunk smell in the air.
Yeah, a lot of the times when great horned owls come into rehabilitation clinics, they smell awful.
Yes.
Like another level of awful. Griffin, would you like to erase a disease-causing agent from the environment? Would you? Thank you. You see the difference between the before and after? So turkey vultures are really hard at work just by living their day-to-day lives, really taking care of and cleaning our world out. So this lovely mural will go back to you.
Thank you.
I can't get my footage.
Oh, yeah. Good.
So where do you think turkey vultures like to hang out?
Sky.
They do like to hang out in the sky. Yeah, they like pretty much anywhere, honestly, that they can find something dead is really the correct answer. So turkey vultures are what we call generalists. They can survive a really wide range of climates. So up here, they are a migratory species. They're starting to leave, as I am sure a lot of us are thinking about, judging by the amount of hats and mittens that I'm starting to see outside. But they can be found up from the tree line of Canada, up bordering the Arctic, all the way down to the coast of Chile, where they are year-round residents, as, again, I am sure many of us would like to be right now. So turkey vultures are adaptable to an incredibly wide range of environments, provided that they have a delicious meal to snack on. I stress the delicious part. So one thing that turkey vultures often do is use deer stands for nesting. So if you have a deer stand for hunting purposes anywhere on your property, or if you've ever just seen one sitting in a field, turkey vultures actually nest at different times of the year than they're in use. So sometimes you will have a lovely guest just borrowing your deer stand for the part of the year that you are not using it. So they also have they do not have a voice box. And that is to help protect their throat because their stomach acid is so acidic that they can't really afford to have one. If they were to vomit on something, you know how it kind of burns our throat if we throw up because we have really strong stomach acid? Imagine being a turkey vulture whose stomach acid is about on par with battery acid. So if we ate battery acid, it is safe to say our throats would not be doing so well, and I strongly advise against it. It does not taste good either, I'm guessing. I haven't eaten battery acid, but I'm not claiming to find out. So turkey vultures actually can't make any vocalizations because of that. The most that they can do is basically what is the equivalent of us exhaling really hard. So if I were to go like, that's basically the noise that they make when they are feeling super, super stressed out. I have never heard a turkey vulture hiss personally, though one has thrown up at me. Not a fun experience. But if one does, it is a really cool, almost dinosaur-y sound. So that is a super cool thing about them. So after a turkey vulture is done digesting its meal, it will return home to its roosting place and then do a few things to get comfortable and clean itself off. So what do we do to clean ourselves off? Yeah, we take showers, we can wash our hands. Anything else? Yeah, hand sanitizer. So, you know what makes really, really good hand sanitizer? Feces. I'm not joking when it comes to turkey vultures. So, turkey vultures will actually poop on their own legs to clean them off. And I am not joking. I know that that does not sound appealing to us per se, but turkey vultures are actually their stomach acid is so acidic that by the time they poop, they are completely sterile. Their urates are completely sterile, which urates are basically a mixture of poop and urine. It just all comes out of the same place, so we have a new word for it. So a turkey vulture has actually pooped on me, and it's really weird because it kind of comes out like a chalky color, and that's why their legs are so chalky, but like it just goes away after a minute because there's basically nothing there because their stomach acid is so strong. So they poop on their legs both to cool themselves down and to keep themselves clean. So it's washing out any of the stuff that they've been standing in, which it's a lot. lot of things that I don't think we would barefoot, but that's okay. We love them for it. So another thing that turkey vultures do, especially in the mornings, have you ever seen one just sitting with its wings outstretched like this?
Yes.
That is called a heraldic pose. So, again, forgive me, my fingers are frozen. So, when a turkey vulture sits with its wings outstretched like this, it is called a heraldic pose. So, if you want to stand up and join me in this, you can. Otherwise, you may simply observe. We are going to do a little bit of turkey vulture pose yoga.
Nice.
Make sure you have enough space to spread out your wings without bumping into a neighbor. Alright, so in the most comfortable resting position, we can fold our wings in and squat down on the ground. It's all very comfortable. We can hold this for hours, right? So this is actually called a boat pose. It's basically just a comfortable roosting position for the turkey vulture or other bird species to lay on. So this is what they would do when they are simply resting. And then if they get really, really comfortable, they might just keep their wings folded, but just stand on one leg while they're perching. I call this a flamingo pose. It's technically called a foot tuck. And this is a sign that a bird is really, really comfortable where it is. And I am really bad at it if you can't tell. So this is not what I do when I am comfortable personally, because this is actually extremely uncomfortable. I have a very bad sense of balance. But then in the beautiful heraldic pose, it is just standing with their entire wingspan completely outstretched. So can you imagine how nice this might feel on a lovely morning after a chilly night when the sun is shining down on your feathers? You think it'd be pretty cozy, right? It'd help you warm up. So turkey vultures actually do this for a bunch of different reasons. We can close our wings now. Thank you all for participating. Yeah, I'm pretty warm like this. I'm honestly considering just standing like this. It's really warming my fingers up. So a heraldic pose is done for a couple different reasons. One important one is just to warm up. That's why they do it in the morning a lot of the time. Another one is to dry off their feathers, either of water or another liquid that they get into quite a bit, which I assume you can probably guess. Any guesses?
What?
It is blood. So it helps them dry the blood off of their feathers and lets them get access to it to preen it more easily. And then it also is thought to actually warm their feathers up so much to bake bacteria off of them. So they like getting really, really toasty, and getting really warm in the sunlight helps them to cook all of the pathogens that they get into off of their body. So what's one other thing that you think a bird might do to keep itself clean? Yeah? Yeah, preening. So turkey vultures preen basically constantly. They are very, I like to say that they're a little bit full of themselves. If you've ever met one that's in captivity, they basically preen all the time. Especially ones that are around humans a lot, they will often start preening if they see one come about. Turkey vultures in the wild are pretty shy, but they can be extremely friendly in captivity. So that's why a lot of places, like the Raptor Education Group where I work, have a couple of them, just because they are extremely charismatic when you actually get to know them. So they will actually just use their beak like other birds and preen oil into their feathers, both to help keep them waterproof so they don't get all bogged down when they get rained on, and also to get all of the stuff that they get into out of their feathers. Alright. So, turkey vultures actually around here are not in much danger. They're not a super high conservation concern, but many scavengers are. And it's kind of unfortunate because most of the threats are actually very much human caused, as in they would not be in any danger if it weren't for certain things that we'll talk about a bit. So turkey vultures, actually, their population is increasing around here, and they are helped out by the increase of cars, which I won't say has helped us out much, specifically in this context, because they are super dependent on roadkill in a lot of places, which obviously no one likes hitting a deer and totaling their car, so diligent driving can help out not just ourselves from headache and injury and very expensive bills for replacing your car and increased insurance costs and all that. But it can also help out turkey vultures and other scavengers a lot just by slowing down and making sure that you are watching carefully to the sides of the roads, just because we don't want to get into a whole situation. And these birds do a lot for us. So bald eagles are also scavengers, so you will sometimes see bald eagles swoop down and kind of bully turkey vultures away from a carcass, especially at wintertime. So that's a little bit funny seeing like the symbol of majesty and America and all of that swooping down and eating a decomposing corpse. But it's all wonderful and it's all part of nature. And they do provide super valuable cleanup services regardless. So thank you to scavengers. So turkey vultures are not in any danger, but it is actually the majority of vulture species that are either threatened, endangered, or even critically endangered. So 16 out of 23 vulture species worldwide are considered endangered, with the highest of that being the familiar California condor. There are actually only about 500 left in the world, and that is after extensive conservation efforts. Does anyone know what the main threat to California condors was? They're kind of far off from here, so I don't blame anyone. But cougars are part of it. They are predators, but so that is actually lead. So lead poisoning is super important for scavengers to be aware of. So So lead poisoning is really, it impacts carnivores a lot. Does anyone know why that might be? Yeah.
Because they eat the things that eat the lead.
Yeah, exactly. So that process is called biomagnification. So when some sort of contaminant like lead or magnesium gets into something really small, something bigger might eat it eventually. So that small thing might then eat a bunch of those little things with lead poisoning, but then something even bigger might eat that. And then it'll get all the way up into the ecosystem. So a lot of raptors will encounter lead poisoning and other large carnivores, and anything that scavenges, they don't really discriminate when they're eating something dead on the side of the road. So if a turkey vulture was to eat something with very severe lead poisoning, then that turkey vulture would then get very severe lead poisoning as a result, because they are extremely intelligent, but unfortunately they don't really know what lead shot looks like. So something super important that we can do to help protect scavengers, any scavenger really, not just turkey vultures, is to avoid the use of lead in general and replace our sporting equipment with things like steel, aluminum, other sorts of metals that are significantly safer both for scavengers and for us. And then, what do you think another major threat to a scavenger might be? It's something that we even face sometimes. So people misunderstanding us. So turkey vultures for a really long time were thought to be major predators of livestock, but do you think they were really going out and killing much? No, they're what we call obligate scavengers, meaning they do not kill any of their own prey. So a turkey vulture will not kill anything. They are actually quite lazy when it comes to food. They will not really eat much, even if it's squirming a little bit, just because they like going after dead stuff and it's not worth the trouble when they are not built to kill. But unfortunately, since they would swoop down and start eating livestock, and they are active really early in the morning when the sun is first starting to rise, farmers would often go out and see a bunch of turkey vultures feasting on the corpse of like a sheep or a cow, and they would just assume that all of those turkey vultures must have worked together to take down their cattle, which is a really sad notion because they were just there eating something else's leftovers. And I'm not saying that anything is any animal's fault. They're not really understanding the economic repercussions of any of this, but the turkey vulture isn't even the one who did. So for a long time, stigma has been hurting scavengers in that way, just because people misunderstand what they're actually up to when they are out and about feasting like that. So overall, vultures really keep everyone a lot safer, including us humans. And I think that it's really worth the few lifestyle changes to help protect them, just because they help to keep our environment so much safer. So just by living their own lives, they help to remove so many different pathogens from the environment, all of the emissions that they help to prevent, and just everything that they do for us by all of those things. So just from the tip of their beaks to the tip of their toes, they have head-to-toe adaptations that basically make them nature's perfect cleanup crew. Thank you. And then we do have free snacks still up here. stickers. I'm actually kind
Oh,
of surprised no one saw those. They were tucked away in the corner. Or maybe you did and you were just politely not saying anything.
Stickers!
I can tell that they were for like a thing tab in my back pocket that I definitely forgot to take out of there. So thank you. But I do have lovely stickers that I drew myself. They say it is a turkey vulture and it says support your scavengers. So I think this is a very important message for all of us to take away. So if you would like a sticker, they will be on both of the tables up here. And I think there's more than enough for everyone. So if you want to take an extra and give it to someone, Turkey Vulture. I'm trying to think of a good one, but it's not coming to me.
yeah.
Turkey Vulture enthusiast
Yes.
in your life, then feel free to take more than one and stick them on everything you know and love. Thank you all so much for coming.
Yay!